You're listening to Storage Nerds Podcast, where we unravel the best-kept secret of the real estate investing world, the storage industry. Join the grassroots guru in self-storage, Stacy Rossetti, in insightful discussions about finding, funding, and running these spaces, allowing you to yield the highest returns possible. Get your foot in the door on self-storage and discover how to properly purchase facilities, negotiate with sellers, and close the deal without worries. Start unpacking that investment wisdom with Stacy right now.
Thank you so much for coming to hang out. I'm Stacy Rossetti, and I teach people how to invest in self-storage. And I own StorageNerds, which is the coaching program. So if you are interested in learning how to invest in self-storage, make sure that you check out StorageNerds.com. Also, we are now offering a turnkey acquisition solution for all StorageNerds students, lifetime member students. That is going to be implemented on May 1st. I'm really excited about it. You can hire my acquisitions team to find properties for you. All right. So I have a team of 5 right now that are out just calling owners, talking to owners across the country and trying to find facilities for us, for the fund, right? So if you don't know, we launched the Self-Storage Fund of America, which is a fund where I'm raising money to buy facilities. If you're interested in that, you can check out self-storagefundofamerica.com. And so I needed to find properties for this fund. Really, that's really what happened. So I started hiring all these acquisitions managers onto my team, and their job is to find facilities for me to buy. And luckily, they're doing a great job. And so I figured, why can't I just offer this to all my Storage Nerds students as well? So as of May 1st, we will be offering this to Storage Nerds lifetime members. So if you are the type of person that's like, I'm just too busy to look for facilities, I don't have any time to call owners, I want to buy a facility, but I don't want to do all the work, then let us help you find a facility. That is going to be the goal for May 1st. Now, the Storage Nerds doors open for 2 weeks, starting May 1st, from May 1st to May 14th. And I will open up my schedule for those 2 weeks. And you will get on the wait list, so you'll be notified. And then I will be taking calls. So if you want to talk to me, you need to make sure you're on the wait list. And then you can ask me questions about Storage Nerds, the coaching program, the turnkey solutions, anything that you want about self-storage, investing in self-storage. I'll be available for those 2 weeks. I only open the doors 3 times a year, in January, in May, and September. Okay, just so everybody knows. Also, all the REI USA members, if you guys are here, you can let me know. Thank you for coming and hanging out today. If you don't know REI USA, I own this company as well too. And it is a platform where you can learn how to invest in real estate, not just storage, but all things real estate, from land and wholesaling and rehabbing and Airbnbs and multifamily and everything. And we have all these coaches that come on and teach their specific niches. And so if you are interested in learning how to invest in real estate, make sure you check out REI USA. Another thing I wanted to say too is May 7th. We have the Raising Capital Virtual Summit. I'm doing a Raising Capital Virtual Summit through REI USA. So if you need to raise money in order to buy real estate, then you should be coming to this virtual summit. It is completely free, right? So all you have to do is go to rei-usa.com/raising-capital. And you can sign up to go to that. I'll be speaking and teaching about how I raise money. And we'll have 10 other investors from across the country. All the coaches from REI USA are going to be speaking on how they're raising money. So then you'll be able to get an idea of how these investors are getting all this money. That's one of the things I ask all the investors I know is where do you get all the money from to buy all these facilities or buy these houses or properties that you buy? Where are you getting all this money from, right? So that's what we're going to be talking about in the virtual summit. It's May 7th, all day long, and you can sign up. It's completely free. So just go there and you can sign up and you can listen in. Okay, so for anybody here that doesn't know me, I'm Stacy Rossetti, and I own 11 storage facilities in Georgia and Florida. We also just launched the Self-Storage Fund of America. We're raising money for to purchase more facilities. And we do have several facilities that if we're not getting under contract, if we're not going to get them under contract this week, then I'm going to be pissed. Right. So we got to get them under contract this week. We got like at least 3 facilities that we're trying to get under contract this week. And one of them, the owner wants to owner finance. In fact, it's a $1.7 million deal, and the owner wants to owner finance it. So, even the bigger deals, you can get owner financed. Okay. I was thinking about putting that in. I was like, oh, we could put this one in the fund. And he was like, oh, no, I want to owner finance that. When you join Storage Nerds, you get the magic letter. Right? That's my magic letter from Storage Nerds. We just implemented this last year. And I'm going to tell you, this letter that my students have been using is like, it's getting, and we're using it as well too, all my acquisitions people, and like it's getting the owners to like think about owner financing. So we have 2 facilities, one that's worth about $3 million. We're getting it for $1 million. He's going to owner finance it for us. And then we got another one that's like, we're purchasing it for 1.7. It's worth about 3.2. And he wants to owner finance that to us as well too. So the magic letter works, but you got to be in the coaching program in order to get that one. All right. Okay. So now we have Ted is here, and Ted is a student of Storage Nerds, and he is very, very successful. So I've been asking all of my students from Storage Nerds to come on to my Monday night podcast. And don't forget, this is a podcast, right? So you can listen to the Storage Nerds podcast as well too. So you can find on iTunes or YouTube, wherever you want to find that on. Okay. But Ted, I met him like several years ago, and I'll let him tell you his story. But he did buy I don't even know how many storage facilities he has anymore. So he'll give us an update on that. But I know during the coaching program, he bought one, and he had a couple others under contract, and he's also building onto one as well too. So we'll let him give us an update of that. And as you've noticed over the past couple of months, I've been doing a lot of more case studies. So on Monday nights, every once in a while, we'll just have one of my students come on and just talk about what they are doing to find, fund, and run their facilities, and how Storage Nerds has helped them to do that. Okay. So Ted, are you here?
Yes, I am.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for hanging out with us.
How are you doing?
Yeah, how are you?
Good. Busy, but good. Can't complain.
Well, I know, because the market is just nuts, right?
It is. I've been working on this current contract for quite some time now, so it's looking like it's making some progress.
So so I want you to tell everybody, like, your story behind like getting into storage, of course, and then just what's happened over the last like couple of years that you've been doing this. That would be great.
I know it's been 2 years now. So
yeah, 2 years. So tell us what you're doing. If you have any visuals once you get into your facilities, just let me know. Just post those out as well too, okay?
Yeah, I don't have any visuals with me, but so my real estate investing career, I guess like many others, I had a couple single family rentals, sold them off about 3 years ago now, I guess you could say, 4 years ago maybe. And I wanted to take that capital and deploy it into multifamily when, of course, everything was exploding in that sector. And I had trouble finding a deal that really made sense as far as cash flowing wise. And I got a quad under contract, didn't work out. Just verbally reaching out to owners, and nothing really came to fruition. So I knew a couple people that were getting involved with storage, and that's when I kind of wanted to learn more about it. And that's when, of course, I searched storage programs in Atlanta, and of course, you pop up all over the web for that. So joined the program, wanted to kind of expedite the learning process with storage, because I know with multifamily, I was doing all the conferences and all that, but I just wanted to learn everything as quick as possible. And within that first 3 months, I think like literally on my second or third driving for storage, I was able to get my first facility under contract. So I call it a baby facility, but it's running beautifully right now. It was it was a 50 unit storage facility in Commerce. The owner at the time, I thought he wanted too much money for it because he wanted to give me 2 acres. Now, if I look back in hindsight, I think I would have paid the price for that extra acreage, but who would have known? But we negotiated a deal where it was about 1.2 acres, so I still had room to add, and got traditional bank financing on it because he was able to provide his tax returns. It was 90% occupied. He was able to show his cash flowing, so the bank pretty much approved it. After they saw his numbers, and then they saw my credit and all that. So the value add on that storage facility was doing really significant rent raises. He did everything by paper and pen. His rates were significantly below, probably like 50% below market compared to the other storage facilities in the area. And then he had no online presence whatsoever, no website, just did everything pretty much old school because he lived directly next door. So we came in and we purchased that storage facility. And I remember I was going back and forth if we should do gradual rent raises to get to market, or just do the one-time hit, do it all at once. Of course, I was nervous to do that, but I know you and Pete recommended just go ahead and do the big hit at once. And he was charging for a 1020 to, I think, $70, and market would have brought it up to, I think we brought it to 117 per door for a 10 by 20. So we did that, and we lost probably, I think it was about 12 or 13 customers out of the 50. There were some people that were a little pissed about that. But after about 6 months and marketing online and getting Guy to do the SEO and my website, at the 6 month window is when things really started turning around for the facility, getting filled back up. And pretty much ever since then, it's been nearly 100% full. And I keep on raising rates, and we just finished the expansion on that probably a couple weeks ago. Actually, did a move in today. So added.
Okay, cool. Okay, let's break that down so we don't go so fast. Now, first of
Oh.
all, can you tell us what are all the different ways that you looked for storage facilities, and how do you, even now, how are you finding storage facilities to buy?
So the three primary ways are cold calling, create your own list, looking on Google Maps. And typically when I'm looking on Google Maps, I look at cities usually with a population of at least 5,000. And then when I hone in on those cities, I look up all the storage facilities, and then I find the ones that don't have a website. But even the facilities that do have a website, sometimes you'll notice the website's just antiquated, like 10 years old, and it's just like a one-page website. I still put them on my list as well. And I create a list from Google searching, and then I would reach out to those owners, and that was kind of like my cold calling list. And then during my searches, I would go through the list and cold call them, and then I would go ahead and drive to them as well. I feel like when you actually meet the owners in person, you do get a little bit better engagement. I did a contract from cold calling. Actually, I got 2 contracts from cold calling, but they both fell through. But I mean, you're able to get in touch with the owners and, make some sort of conversation and engagement over the phone. You just kind of, you gotta see what works best for you, basically. The third way.
So yeah, I was gonna say real fast, how much time does this take to do all this? I know you are working, had a full-time job.
Yeah, so
give
if
us
you're
an
working,
idea.
I think out of this whole self-storage investing, I think finding deals is what takes up the most time. And yes, I was working at the time full time, and I would be driving on weekends and doing everything part time, which could be a lot, but I wanted to get out of my day job at the time, so that's what I was doing.
How many people did you call? How many owners did you talk to, and how long did it take you to find this facility?
The first one happened relatively quick. That one probably on my first mailer. Actually, it was weird because I drove out, I saw his storage sign on one of the highways, but I didn't see his actual facility, and I put it on my list. And then on my very, very first mail that I sent out, he called, and then that's when we met up and started, and started discussing things. I did a few mailers after that, and pretty much it was crickets. Didn't really get much. So I guess, I mean, it's just a matter of timing with some of these owners. But that first one was from a mailer. The two contracts that fell through were from cold calling, and then the second facility I acquired, that was from cold calling. That closed this past December. And then the one that I'm working on right now, is a combination of driving and calling.
Okay, so you're still doing calling and driving and stuff.
Correct. At the moment, I've kind of stopped a little bit as we were doing the expansion and then working through this contract right now and turning things around on the second facility because we just closed on it in December. So just still going through that turnover process at the moment. But yes.
Okay, cool. Okay, all right. So driving, calling, and you had a third way. What was the third way?
The mailers.
The mailers. Okay, so
Yeah.
sending letters out as well too. So this is basically how you find your facilities. Okay, and then okay, now let's go through. So you said now you have the first one that you bought, and then you have the second one that you closed on, and then you just did the expansion. So that's kind of what you've been doing. And then you have a third one under contract?
Yes. So
Okay.
we closed on the second one. That guy called me back probably last September, October. I think it took about 2 or 3 months to close, and we closed in December, like a week before Christmas. Worst time.
Which one was this? Remind me about this one.
That one was in Thompson.
Okay.
It's about
Okay, so yeah,
30
give us
minutes.
how big is that?
30 minutes west of Augusta, for those who are familiar with Georgia. That one is 74 units, 11,000 square feet. And pretty much
Okay,
same
cool.
situation there. The owner had did everything paper and pen. It was 90% plus occupied. He was willing to provide tax returns, and I ended up getting a loan with the same bank. And I did the significant rent raises on this facility and lost probably maybe 35% of the tenants. So at the moment right now in the turnover phase to start bringing people back in. And he had no website either, so implemented that. I have a guy doing the digital marketing as well. And
Are you keeping
said, yeah.
one brands?
Yes.
You are, okay. All right.
Under
And then
Star
Can
Self-Storage.
you just add a page for every single one of your facilities to your website?
Yeah, that's what Guy
Okay.
did pretty much.
Okay, cool. Okay, good. Okay, so for the first one, how did you fund it? And the second one, how did you fund it?
The first and second one, I did my own money, and I did the down payment. The third one, I'm finally branching out, and I got private money on this third one.
Okay, cool. So and then
It is exciting.
Did you use the same bank for both of those facilities or a different bank?
The first two, yes, they're the same bank.
Okay, so what kind of terms did you get on that?
They were big down payments. They were 25% down payments, but they are 25-year payment amortization schedules. The first one, the interest was 3.8. The second one, the interest was 4.5, I believe.
Oh, so yeah, you could tell it didn't go up. The interest rate went up. Okay, so it's just a 25-year loan at like 3.8 or 4.5.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Okay, with 25% down.
Correct. And then the first one, I was able to get a construction loan from the same bank. This banker loves me right now, but we got a construction loan to fund the expansion, and that's due in November, and that's when we plan to refinance. And we'll see what the rates are at that moment to see how much cash to pull out, because obviously we want it to still cash flow very well even after we pull out money, but we'll see what everything looks like in November.
So how does the construction loan work? Like what were the terms for that, and how did it work?
So with the construction loan, first I had to get them at the very beginning. I had to get them estimates for everything, for the grading, for the concrete, for the materials, get all the estimates, send it to the bank for their approval. But then there was some lag time with that, because every time, by the time they got back to me, numbers would change. So then I would have to resend the estimates again. So it was kind of a little bit of a back and forth thing. But then once they approved me for the construction loan amount, I was able to move forward. And basically I did have to pay out of pocket to do certain jobs, but then once they saw the jobs were complete and they saw the invoices, they would reimburse me for the jobs.
Got it. Okay. All right. So talk about the process for doing the expansion.
So I worked with Peaks, learned a lot during that process. So the first mistake I did was I didn't realize I had to get civil engineering plans. The county wanted civil engineering plans, from a civil engineer locally in the area. So I was getting estimates for that. It took probably about a month or two to get estimates from a handful of engineers, and then to actually get the drawings done, the firm took about 3 months to get those done. One engineering plans were
what drawings did you have to get done?
Oh, well, I had to put a retention pond, a drainage system on my lot. The county required a stormwater drainage system that an engineer had to write up in order for me to add square footage to the existing buildings at that time.
How big did the retention pond have to be?
I don't know how big it was, but I know it cut my building in half towards the back. So I originally wanted to add the building in the back, I think is about 2,500 square feet, and I wanted to add 5,000 alone back there. So it did take up a piece of that. And I know I've talked to other owners, you and others that have invested in these rural areas, and some of the counties are really, really lax. And I guess because there's so much going on in commerce, so a bit more rigid as far as what's being allowed over there. But I'm surprised it took this long, but I'm happy it's finally over and done with.
So, okay, all right. So you have the civil engineer do the drawings. You got those approved by Commerce.
Correct. So after they gave the county the plans, they approved the permits, and then that's when I went ahead and ordered from Peak Steel all the materials. And of course, during COVID, there was a 6-month wait for the buildings to come. So, and I didn't order that before the engineering plans because I had to wait for the engineering plans to get done to see what size buildings I would get, and then to make sure I had approval, obviously, before adding the buildings. Because once you have your order with Peak Steel, you can't modify it afterwards. I think that was with all the vendors.
Mm-hmm.
So
okay, so they had a 6-month wait time.
Yeah.
Okay.
So during that 6 months, I got the grading done, relatively quick actually, and then about in January, I believe, late January is when I worked with Peak Steel to go ahead and get the concrete poured, and then they delivered the materials early February, roughly.
So with the when you had to get the grading done and then all the different things, how did it work with when you were working with the bank? Did you have to pay out of pocket and then they paid you back, or how does that work?
When I paid the grading, when I paid out the grading, after that was done, I showed them the invoice. I showed them pictures of the work completed, and then I think even the banker visited on site just to check it out. And then they would give me the draw for that amount into my construction loan account.
And this is like a small local bank, or it's like a bigger bank?
It's Synovus. So
Synovus did it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so they're kind of a bigger bank, but so they had somebody actually go out and look at the property and stuff?
Yeah, the banker was out of Athens, and yeah, I did send him pictures, but he said that his superiors also did want him to physically go on site just to confirm everything.
Okay, wow, okay. All right, so, and then, okay, good. So now you got the grading done. What comes after grading?
After the grading is when we had the concrete poured, and that was
okay.
I think it was late January, early February.
How much does that cost?
The concrete, I think it was around 25, I think.
For how big? How big of a place? A spot?
For the 2 pads, it was the total square footage added was 4,025.
Okay.
So that's how much it cost for that.
Okay. I wonder if if that price is going up now.
Well, I don't think too much. Yeah. Well, you want to expand at one of your facilities?
Yes, we do. But watching you, I'm like, ugh.
Well, if I had to go through a lot of red tape, obviously, with the county, and I had to re-permit again because I didn't do it within 6 months. It was just a one thing after another. But I mean, it was a learning experience. I'm glad it's done and over with. But if your county is more lax and you don't have to get like engineering plans like some of these other owners I've talked to, that's great. When I was getting estimates for the civil engineer to get the pond and to get the designs for the pond, they varied a lot. And then it took them a while to obviously get them drawn up.
Yeah. No, I've told you, I've talked to some where it's like they don't even care, just do whatever. But it really just depends on the county, because I think you're closer to Atlanta. So I think, and especially everything is moving up towards your way. So like people, they're just getting stricter and stricter in that area.
They are, especially as you know, I talked to Nick White a lot, and he's in Jackson County, which is the county directly next to Madison County. And yeah, they're getting pretty strict up there as far as building out things, because I think they're just really delayed. And it's that whole big battery plant that I think is everyone's been pretty much rushing towards the area, because it's bringing a lot of jobs in over the next 3 to 4 years. So
yeah, it's growing. Okay, cool, good. Okay, all right. So you have your expansion. So after you did so how long did it take them to put up the 4,000 square feet of metal?
The erectors took, I think, it was like 1 to 2 weeks roughly.
That's fast. Okay.
Yeah, it was relatively quick. And then I just had my boots on the ground guy finish up the numbering on the units last week, and then built everything.
Oh, how's that working? How do you manage your boots on the ground now and stuff? 'Cause I know in the beginning you were doing all that. So now how do you manage?
I was very fortunate on our first spot, the boots on the ground. I hired for a current tenant at the time, reached out. He was a former military guy, asking, he knew that we were based out of Atlanta, and he lived 1 mile down the road, and just offered his help basically as far as getting things done. He wanted just something part-time, and been using him ever since. He's great. He's does a very good job cleaning out the units. I've received compliments from customers saying how clean the units are. He's very responsive. He's not the handiest guy in the world, but honestly, like for boots on the ground, all you need is someone that communicates well and cleans out the units, and just do checks every couple, once a week. And he's done that. I can't complain at all about him. So
So how much do you pay him? How many hours? Like how do you pay him?
I do an hourly rate of 25 per hour for him. I started him off at 20, and then I just bumped him up to 25 this year. So I figured that was fair.
Okay, cool. Okay, so he's just managing that one facility, or is he handling anything else?
No, he's just managing the one. If he had reliable transportation, I would have had him send him to the other one, but the other location is about an hour and a half away from him. At the second location, we've had some trouble finding a reliable boots on the ground. I'm actually meeting someone tomorrow to see how they work out. So, but that first time
this is the one that's by Augusta, right?
Yeah, that one's in Thompson.
Okay.
So I actually got a dumpster on site there today, and I got probably, I don't know, maybe like 7-8 units that I have to empty out from people that moved out, left stuff behind. So I'll be doing that tomorrow, and then meeting this new boots on the ground, see how that goes. We've gone through a couple already, and just the communication, just a simple, picture or video of what's going on. What time are you there? What time did you leave? So you can pay them accurately. Just simple tests like that. Just some people, I guess, aren't very technology savvy, but just communication with me is very important. So
yeah, so we implemented we're going to talk about this in the coaching, but we implemented Microsoft Teams, and that's what we use, and you could do that right from your phone for communication. So the whole team, just even our boots on the ground people, all communicate right through Microsoft Teams, which is working out really good. Pete loves it. Right.
Do you have multiple boots on the ground for all your facilities?
No, we don't, but we do have boots on the ground, and then we have like our office people, and now we even have several phone support people, and we are hiring more people because we're going to start a phone call center.
That sounds exciting.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Who knows what Pete's up to over there. But yeah, but we do use Microsoft Teams, which is actually very low cost. It doesn't cost a lot of money. And so if you need something to manage, like task manage people, or like to communicate with them, it might be a good way to just check it out.
That might be something to look into. And I saw a question. I think I did actually the boots on the ground posting. I did post on Craigslist. I just did it for the third time. So the person I'm meeting tomorrow, they respond to a Craigslist ad. I've just been running it pretty much every few weeks to see what kind of responses I get, and just doing basic interviews with these people over the phone and potentially meeting them in person and see how it goes from there.
Yeah, no, we struggled for a while on our boots on the ground people too, but it's just, you just have to pay them what they're worth. I mean,
it is, and I think I've heard from others. I remember, I think like a year or two ago, everyone was paying 15 an hour. Like, obviously with inflation, 15 an hour, I don't think anymore is going to cut it. I think it's like minimum 20 now. And if you can find someone that's good, I'm willing to pay 25 for my time, for them to take care of what I need done. So
that's what we're doing. And it's so funny because I just saw McDonald's was hiring for $16.50 an hour.
Wow.
Yes, they're starting at $16.50 an hour, McDonald's. So so just think about it that way.
That is a good comparison. Yeah.
Yeah. Like they could go work at McDonald's and make more money than working from you, and your job
is Chick-fil-A paying more?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what they're paying, but I just saw a big sign that said now hiring $16.50 an hour at McDonald's. I was like, what?
Yeah, that's crazy. $16.50 at McDonald's. Wow.
Isn't that crazy? Yeah, good. Finally. Okay, good. Okay, all right. So now you have, what about the third one? So where is this one located at?
The third one, don't want to disclose location yet. I like to be discreet. But it is in a growing market. We haven't closed yet. We were scheduled to close at the end of April, but looking at early May now. That owner I've been talking with since last October, and
cool. Okay.
That one's almost 20,000 square feet. It's over 100 units, and this one's this is kind of actually a Stacy type facility, actually. It's only about 30% occupied. So a little bit definitely going out of my element, out of my comfort zone with this one. Of course, no online presence, no website. What I like about this facility is the guy just put up a brand new security gate, new fence, and the roof is in good shape. The buildings structurally are good. Just, it's in a great market. It's just very, very low occupancy, and it has low visibility as far as where it's located. So, and it's an older guy. It was even never his primary business. It was always his secondary business. And he's older, and he's had other offers, and he's actually even showed them to me. Other offers, cash offers higher than my offer. But we've been talking for, was it 6 months now? And we've kind of developed a relationship. So we're going to be working out owner financing, because I try to get all private money on this contract, and it was way too much. And then I thought about wholesaling it, but then he agreed to do the owner financing with me. So moving on.
I was going to ask, so this one, how many units is it?
It's 135 units.
Oh, good. Okay, cool. And that's good. Try to get it owner financed, and then you're just gonna partner with somebody for the down payment, or how's that gonna work?
Yeah, I have a friend of mine that that's gonna lend me some money. I'm paying him 9% interest only, and I told him the owner financing terms are for 2 years. So I told him I'll return his capital back within 2 years. I also did a little incentive in there, telling him if the property appraises for a certain amount, I'll give him an extra $10,000, or if it appraises for this amount, I'll give him a little bit more, just to incentivize him, for potential future investments as well.
Well, how did you find this private lender?
A very good friend of mine. That's actually, he's a real estate investor himself, but he's on the residential side, and he wants to learn more about the commercial side of business.
Okay, cool. Awesome. All right, good. All right, good. So you're going to close that one here by the beginning of May is when you're going to close.
That's what I'm waiting on the title exam back from Deborah.
Oh.
From Deborah Kalish, your closing attorney, and then I'm waiting on. I also ordered a environmental. It was just a phase 1 environmental. It was just a little concern as far as the location of the facility, if there were any issues might arise, and because if after that 2 years,
like why?
It's next to a trucking business, so
okay.
And typically, if I'm going to refinance, in 2 years. I know sometimes the banks will want to do an environmental, or depending on what type of lending institution, SBA requires phase ones typically. I wanted to do one now, just kind of for peace of mind, so I don't have any red flags for later on, or if at exit, whenever I potentially sell, if someone else does an environmental and it shows up on their end, that I already know about it ahead of time.
All right, cool. All right, well, that one's good. So you have now you have this one that you're going to be working on. So now you've got 3 properties. How are you managing all these? And like, what software are you using? And like, kind of tell everybody kind of how you manage everything.
So I've been using storage. Learned it from you and Pete. I've been using it. I know a lot of people out there, probably 3/4 of self-storage owners use ESS. Once I get used to a software, I really don't want to change, honestly. So I've just been using storage for all the locations at the moment.
Well, actually, just so you know, there's a lot of softwares out there now. There's a lot of competition. So, because we've had a couple of them come into like Storage Nerds and do some demos and stuff. Like we have Breeze come in, we had Yardi come in, we had a couple others. I can't remember what their names are. So there's a lot of options out there.
I've been really happy with storage. Their support, I have to admit, is pretty good. You call them up and they're always available and they help out right away. And that's kind of important to me if I ever run into an issue or I need something resolved right away.
One thing that we've been implementing with storage that Pete implemented, I don't know if you have or not, is the mail house.
The mail house?
So they just started the mail. I don't know if Pete's a beta tester for that or not. I'm not sure, but they're implementing a mail house. So we're using that mail house for revenue management. All right.
Okay.
Yeah. So like when we raise the rents, not only do they get emailed and let know, but also they get a letter sent out. And they'll mail the letter out for you and do stuff like this.
Really?
And then also, yes, and then also another thing is they do the auction letters as well too. So you don't have to handle any of like sending a letter out, for auction, letting everybody know that you're going to be doing the auction and stuff. So if you find yourself doing a lot of letters for some reason to get a hold of the tenants or doing auctions or whatever, you should really check the mail house out once it gets implemented and put out to the thing. Because I think it's really good.
I didn't know that. Well, I know you guys have 11 facilities with storage, so they probably use Pete a lot for beta testing, but I will definitely ask about that mail house feature. Definitely be nice if they actually physically mail out.
And I've been doing a lot of demos, just so everybody knows and listen. I've done a lot of demos on almost every software out there, and there's not a lot of softwares out there that do revenue management and dynamic pricing. All right, so make sure that you're taking advantage of that from storage as well too, because ESS does not offer this, SiteLink doesn't offer it, and a lot of other softwares don't offer it as well too. So you want to make sure that you implement dynamic pricing too.
Did you ever use ESS at any point when you owned your
I never
facilities?
used it. I only started with storage. I started storage when there's like 3 people working for the company. Yeah. It was like back in the day. So, but yeah, no, they do the dynamic pricing. We're going to talk about that in the coaching program. That's why I bring it up. Is that like, what I learned from a lender was essentially, because we're trying to get these loans on these like $2-3 million facilities now, and basically what he was saying was that, if you're 82% full or higher, then that means that you're not pricing your units properly. And that you need to be implementing dynamic pricing. So essentially like at 82% to 92% that you have, because like typically you run the numbers at 92%, right? Something like this, right?
It's so just like a flight or
yes, you should be increasing your rates.
You keep on increasing it a couple dollars here and there.
Exactly. Or even more. Just push it to see what people will pay. So your last 1, 2, 3 units should be like ridiculously expensive versus your last like 5 or 10 units. Something like this. So look into that as well too, because I think you'll really make some more money on the back end doing that.
I'll definitely look into that. It'd be a nice feature to try out.
Yeah, especially storage, because they use this. How do you manage everything is what I'm
okay. So I got the boots on the ground in commerce, and literally I just hired, I'm about to hire, literally I think gonna start her tomorrow on the phones, but I have Grasshopper, and I have a friend, a stay-at-home mom, that's gonna answer my phones for me, and gonna try that out. So and train her how to do the, it's not rocket science working in storage. It's pretty user friendly, just to do the move-ins and keep tabs of anyone. I've been handling the phones, and typically in the latter part of the month, and then the first week of the month, the phones are ringing a lot, and especially when I'm out in the field, it's it's a little bit of a nuisance. But I think now with the third facility coming on, hopefully next month, I'll think it's a good time to bring on a phone person to train them and get used to them and get them in rhythm before I can hand over the third facility. Because I think initially I like to do the first reach first to all the customers and attendants, and then afterwards, after I get things going, then pass it off to someone else.
Okay.
You still
cool.
have, I'm assuming you still have Bonnie, right?
Yeah, we still have Bonnie.
Okay.
Yeah, we're bringing her into the company. And so, because what we did is we took our property management company out of Miss Lillian's, and then we formed our own property management company. And that property management company is now going to be managing the fund, right? And all the properties that go into the fund. And she is the property manager of that company. And essentially, she now is like a partner in the company for us. So we've incentivized her to also give her even like profit share and stuff like that, so that she knows she's going to be running this company properly, and she gets even like profit on the back end and stuff like that.
I think we are all looking for our next Bonnie. Bonnie's been with you for how long?
Like 7 years. It's a long time.
So basically from your first facility?
From the very first one, yes.
Wow. Yeah.
So she can do it all. She can do it all. Yeah.
That's great. Yeah. I mean, for her to be with you for that long, and she's learned pretty much everything about the business at this point. So.
Well, and so, yeah, and then we're going to be doing and so she's actually, we're trying to get Pete out of the business. That's the goal. And the only way you can get Pete out of the business is if you train Bonnie to do everything that Pete does, right? So that's kind of what we're doing now. So it's kind of exciting. Okay, all right. So I was going to ask a question about the management. Oh, yeah. So how are your auctions and stuff? How are you handling all that?
The first facility, been fortunate enough, I only had 3 units to auction in the first year. I did them in person just to experience it. Very little turnout. A couple people bought the units for like $10 each. They made out actually pretty well. They found some nice valuables. The second storage facility, I just went online the other day and scheduled the auctions on storageauctions.com, uploaded some photos, and I got the auction date set up for early May. And I'm sure I'm going to have a lot third facility. So.
Okay, good. That's not too bad then. Okay, we had a couple of questions. Let me just ask these to you. Which storage software that you demoed did you like best? Oh, that's for me. Yeah, I'm honestly, we've been using storage for so long. Like, I'm just a storage person. I know how it goes. And, we've been using it since the very beginning. And so, and they call on Pete a lot to beta test things. So we're just a storage family is what we are,
Well, I mean, and I was demoing ESS, but, during your mastermind, Pete knows it so well, and the little tweaks that you can do here and there. I just felt comfortable going along with it as well. I know a couple other students I think went with ESS, but I think a majority of them went with storage.
Yeah, most everybody goes with storage now. Honestly, ESS and storage are they're very close in price now. They're raising the rates and all kinds of stuff too. So, and they're funneling a lot more money into storage. Storage is actually becoming storage enterprise. If anybody doesn't know, it's storage enterprise. And what's happening is like SiteLink and ESS and storage are all owned by the same company. The money that ESS is making is being funneled into storage. The money that SiteLink makes is being funneled into storage. And it's becoming this like storage kind of enterprise where they're putting so much development into developing the software out that I think it's really kind of just going to be like the big one now. Like back in the day, SiteLink used to be the big one, but I really feel like over the course of the next year or two, storage is going to be the huge software out there. And so I'm glad to just be on the forefront of that, really.
And I wonder if they're going to do a call. I mean, I know ESS has a call center, and I've heard actually a lot of complaints over the past 3 to 6 months or so that their quality for their call center has gone down, but they rate because they were so cheap. I think they were charging I think like $2 a unit. I can't remember exactly how much they were charging, but they raised prices on them because they just couldn't provide good customer service. So they raised the prices on everyone to kind of catch up and maybe hire more staff. And I'm curious, I guess, if storage is
Yeah.
ever going to have their own call center in a year or two.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the call center, they're not pumping that up. It's not a big thing anymore, honestly. I think back in the day it kind of was, but then they're just not focusing on that. They're focusing on other things. So, and the call center is not part, like if you go on to Storable, they don't really market call center, they just have that because ESS had it or whatever, so. Now we have a good question here. How did you quit your day job?
I'm sorry?
How did you quit your day job?
Oh, how? Or when?
How and when? Like, how did you know when it was time to quit?
Well, I'm sure there's people on this call. I mean, just like most of us, I was working a government job. I was there for 13 years, just didn't really like it anymore. Dreaded it and wanted to quit it, and I've always enjoyed real estate. I was a part-time realtor as well. I still am a part-time realtor, but I don't really focus on it too much anymore as much. And I just wanted to be in real estate full-time. And with my wife's support, and then plus changing our investment strategy, going into storage, that's helped out our cash flow a lot. That I decided to quit last year. It was June 24th when it was my last day at work. So been full-time. I guess I consider myself still a rookie entrepreneur, but still in my first year. So
good. But it only took you a couple of years to quit. Not even a couple of years, a year and a half.
Yes. We have our storage income. We do have some Airbnb income. And of course, my wife at the time got a promotion, but now my wife wants me to buy stuff more for us so that she can quit her job. So
good. She's got the bug.
We'll see how it goes, but we'll hopefully in another maybe 2 years we'll just see what the economy has for us in the next year or two.
That's true. So okay, also somebody asked, did you do any feasibility studies for your facilities?
I did not. The first one I felt really, really comfortable with, the market being strong, and I didn't want to spend that much money on a feasibility study, to be honest with you. And then the second one I felt comfortable with. The third, I'm trying to do a little bit more research and maybe get like a desktop study. But just from calling around the third location, I mean, there's about 10 facilities within a 10 mile. There's a lot of competition, but I underwrote the deal to be the second lowest in the area. So I feel pretty comfortable about that. And then the market itself is pretty strong as far as a growing population and a lot of jobs. And it's not too far out in a rural market. I just feel like investing in growing markets right now is important. I just feel like whenever there is a change in the economy, the growing markets just tend to do better than a small rural town that does not have, that only has maybe one or two major employers in the area.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, really the thing that you have to focus on too is that like the movement of people has changed dramatically in the last 2 years. And I think even the smaller towns are growing. So you just want to make sure that when you look at it, you need to look at the growth. Because the funniest thing is the most construction I've seen in Georgia outside of like maybe new construction in Atlanta is in Americus. And that town is booming. It was like 15,000 people. They were doing road construction. They were doing building and stuff like this. And it was a town of like 15,000 people, right? And so that's why I bought the facility there. And I'm driving across the country right now. Honestly, I've been from Austin I'm in Vegas now. We've been everywhere in between, and there is not a lot of new construction going on. I know people think that there's a lot of new construction. I've been in all the major cities and a lot of smaller towns, and I don't really see a lot of new construction. So, I just want to keep that out for you, is that the movement of people is like, it's different now.
It is. And then like, and on our second location, Thompson, like when you look up Thompson itself, you look at the population, Google says it's stagnant and it's decreasing at 1%. But then Augusta got some major government contractor employees major government contracts that's bringing in a couple thousand employees over the next couple years. So, but it's still 30 minutes away from Augusta. So I'm curious if it's going to kind of trickle out towards the area of Thompson. But then I was at the facility the other day, and I guess, I mean, it's not a bad thing, but I saw a Starbucks being built 1 mile down the street, from the facility, which is good. They got a Chick-fil-A. You have some new construction homes being built in the area. And then I was reading on the county the other day that they have 400 lots going up for next year. But it seems like it's a little skewed, because then when you look on Google, or I think there's another website, I think World Population Rank, or I forgot what exactly it's called, but when you Google a city of population, it's one of the top ones in the search, and it just shows Thompson as being stagnant. But if you still
that's
see
like I think Google's like 2019.
I think I feel like they are a little bit behind on their statistics.
They are.
So
yeah, no, because we do that too. You got to be looking at 2020, but 2021, honestly, which is the hardest data to come by. You should be looking at that, because I feel like the data is totally skewed right now.
It is, and when you and I do like to see some sort of building and things going on in the area. I prefer to see that, if I'm gonna buy in a particular city. So I felt good that I saw the Starbucks the other day. And then they do have some new construction homes going on, and the county adjacent, that's a little bit closer towards Augusta, has blown up a lot. When you look them up on Google, it's pretty much a graph just going up like that. So I'm just sitting, I was like, maybe I have to be patient with Thompson, but the jury's still out as far as if it's be a long-term hold or something that, we want to flip in a year.
Augusta's a good area, and it's growing very quickly. It is. So, okay, good. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Real fast, anything you want to say about Storage Nerds? How did Storage Nerds help you to get your first couple of deals and stuff before we end?
You guys didn't see my
good.
shirt.
You got your Storage Nerds t-shirt on.
I know. I noticed it wasn't on my shirt. Sorry.
That's all right.
But basically, I changed my whole investment philosophy. I mean, I was not looking at storage at all. I was just like everyone else on the multifamily bus. And, joining the program with you and Pete, talking to other students since then, great relationships with them. And it's been great. Have no regrets joining. Been a life changer for me, pretty much.
You're a real storage nerd?
Ask my wife. I think she can't stand it. That's all I talk about is storage. So you become obsessed with it.
Yeah, it's addicting. It's addicting.
It is. It is. You start analyzing, underwriting deals. You got to tell someone. So my wife lives with me, so I got to tell her.
At least she listens. See, Pete now he's like doesn't listen anymore. He's just like, whatever.
She's just like, just do the deal already, because I get a lot of deal anxiety. And then she's like, if you don't do it, you're gonna regret it. My wife, she just says, go for it, do it. She gives me the go for
I like
it. I'm
her.
just like, I know. I'm like, oh wow, we're risking a lot. She's like, we got to do something. So I gotta give a lot of.
The good thing is that storage is a buy and hold. So
it is a buy and hold.
Even if it doesn't work out in the first year or two, just hold on to it, because I promise you're going to be fine. It's going to be worth more money in 5 years or 10 years.
I know, and I should listen to that advice, because I'm being impatient with Thompson in 3 months. So I had to move out today on Thompson. I had to move out on Thompson.
Because your first one was such a good one. Yeah.
First one is practically running itself right now. There's barely any work being done on that first one right now. So obviously I would love to have a whole bunch of those like that, but doing the so-called, just redoing all the operations right now on Thompson. So I have faith in it. It'll be fine by the end of the year.
It'll be great. It'll be good. Well, congratulations on all your success. I really appreciate you hopping on, telling your story. And and everybody else, I'm going to hop off right now and go right onto the Self-Storage Fund of America pitch. So if you are interested in listening to anything to do with the fund and what we're doing in the fund, then you can hop onto that. You just go to stacyrossetti.com/fund, FUND, and then you can hop on and get onto that. All right, I appreciate it, Ted. Thank you so much. And I will see you guys in the next sessions. All right. And he's in the Super Simple Self-Storage, Facebook group. So you can search him in there as well. And you can always ask him any questions too as well.
All right. Thank you again, Stacy.
Bye. All right. Take care, everybody.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Storage Nerds. Hope this informative conversation inspired you to go out there and jump into this highly profitable business venture that people rarely talk about. Get more tips on storage space investing at www.stacyrossetti.com. Don't forget to subscribe to the show and leave a rating. Together, let's build that thriving passive income one storage space at a time. Until next time.